Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
All right, guys, welcome back to Breaking Barriers. My man next to me, Joe Marchitelli, is not somebody who's a stranger on this podcast.
No.
He's been on this podcast many fucking times. Joe and I even have our own podcast that we have on the side from this.
Have one.
That's still under construction right now. But
yeah.
Joe, dude, so good to have you back.
Yeah, man. Happy to be back.
You've been, the first time you were on this podcast, I believe, was 2018. Or 2017 or something like that.
Something like that.
Something back in the day.
It's got to be like 5 or 6 times at this point.
Yeah, right? You're usual suspect.
Usually once a year.
Legit, actually.
Yeah,
that's
probably.
actually probably right. And dude, so like, you know, so the last time I had you on the podcast, you were transitioning from, you know, being a chiropractor and a business owner.
Yep.
To, you know, going into your a different business in solar.
Yep.
And building a team there and doing your stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're fucking back.
We're fucking back.
We're fucking back.
We're back.
So talk for the people out there that like maybe know you from, you know, as a colleague or just seeing you around. Like, so walk us through that journey, right? So you have your own business, you know, obviously, you know, you had a partner. You decided to exit that business.
Correct.
And then obviously you got into the solar game, and then boom, now you're independently running your own business.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
which probably feels great not to have a partner. And I know that most people who have partners like, fuck, I wish I could have my own business. So that's probably great, obviously, for both you and obviously other partner.
Yep.
But anyway, so like, walk us through that journey, man.
It was crazy. It was a crazy journey. You know, got into sales, was home a lot with having 2 kids. We made our way through, you know, raising them. Our oldest is going to be 4. I actually sold my original company the week my oldest was born.
That's a big moment.
That was a crazy week for me. That was the craziest week of my life. I sold a business that I built, started, had my first kid.
From the ground
Life
up.
was all upside down. I started a new career at that point. It was like crazy. But, you know, fast forward, we started the process of opening our own place. And when I say our, like, yes, my wife.
Yeah.
Brittany and I own it.
Yeah.
We run it together. I don't have a partner. I have a wife. Anyone who's married knows what that means.
The boss.
Yeah, I do what I'm told every single day on what I need to do, and she
100%.
does her half of the business, and it's great. But we started the process in, I want to say like late fall,
Okay.
2024.
Uh-huh.
You know, and the process always starts the same. Pros and cons list. What does it look like exiting the industry I'm in? Am I staying in the industry? Am I transitioning out slowly? And then it's, what do I need to get up and running? Do we have the capital? And what spaces are available?
Right.
So you start going down that road. And obviously I sold a business in the same exact industry.
Right.
You know, out of respect for my ex-partner, I sat with him first.
Right.
Once I knew that I was opening.
Right.
Once I knew I was opening, I sat with him out of respect. You know, we talked through it. You know, things are what they are. We're good from that point. And then just like luck had it that there was a space open less than 5 minutes from my house that was a chiropractic office for like 20 years, and it was vacant. And it opened in like...
I feel like if you wanted to, you could ride your bike there.
Yeah, 100. I could walk.
You're like that close.
I could walk.
Yeah.
Straight up, just
You're
like
that
take
close.
a stroll with the kids. It's
Right.
less than a mile. It's
wild.
the craziest thing. I've never had that in work before. I've always commuted at least 25, 30 minutes to work. So it's kind of crazy for me.
Yeah.
But so the space was open. We saw like a little bit of a sign that it was like a chiropractic office first. So we were like, oh, this makes sense. So we opened it. We signed our lease second week of January. And you know, you've done a lot of construction on this building. You know what it takes to do all that to get something up and running.
Yep.
From signed lease to first day seeing patients was 34 days. Full gut renovation, full everything.
Dude, you were so dialed.
Oh, I was in there every day annoying people.
From the moment you told me this was like a thing,
Yeah.
like I don't think I've ever seen like an office be constructed and painted and all that shit that fast.
Yeah.
You moved fucking quick.
We moved quick.
Yeah.
We were doing marketing. Like we were filming marketing videos and social media as we were going.
Right.
So like we have the whole office built out. We follow the journey to how to start in the car type style videos of running to Home Depot, picking out colors of paint, me running in there, doing some work and like, 34 days. And technically they never even started construction for like almost 2 weeks after we signed. So the construction itself was done like 20 something days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you moved quick.
Yeah, I mean, we had to. Like, it was...
And the space, though, by the way, is like I know it was obviously formerly a chiropractic office.
Yes.
But it just makes so much sense, man. You have a good amount of rooms, the square footage. It's big.
It is deceivingly big.
It's a good way to put it.
Deceivingly big.
I remember when I walked in and I kept walking, like, does this keep going?
Yeah.
Like,
it's
wait,
great.
There's a room that goes into another room? Like, there's so many.
And this office is much different than any office I've really ever worked in. It's a storefront.
Yeah.
In a very busy, if not the busiest shopping center in our town.
Yeah.
With a huge, well-known coffee place.
Yeah.
So like the foot traffic alone of people just walking in and what is this place? Who are you? What do you do here?
Mm-hmm.
I've never experienced that before. So like, that was another thing that put us on our toes and my wife really took the lead on the design because we knew that, we have a ton of big windows in the front, and we knew the first thing people were going to see was our waiting room and our front desk.
Right.
And it was very important to do that the right way.
Totally.
And we did it the right way really, really fast, which was the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you hit hiccups and run into some problems and you spend a little extra money,
Right.
What do they say? With a positive attitude and a little bit more money, you can achieve anything.
Yeah, right. Or I think it's positive attitude and just fucking work your ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But whether you have money or not, I mean, that's important. But like, I think it's those two components. But yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And so again, like now you being in a position where you were in solar, like what made you say like this is the time to come back to it? Because I know when you transitioned out of the the chiropractic space and the health space,
Yep.
wanted to do something different, obviously, and I remember you said at some point in the future, like I know I'll be back, and I think based on what you shared with me, and maybe it changed. Obviously, it did change, but I think you thought way more in the future than it is right now.
I did. I thought I thought at least another 5 years from now.
Right. That's what I initially thought when we spoke.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why I was like so pumped for you, like when you decided to come back.
Oh yeah.
Because like when I think about who you are in the community, like you always hear like certain business owners will be like, you're like your business is like attached to you, who you are and your personality.
Yeah.
And I always like when I think of you, obviously I met you as a chiropractor and a business owner.
Yes.
So like you're always like this fucking jack dude, always just cracking backs and necks, and and cashing checks.
That's it, buddy. That's all it is.
And so like when I saw, like obviously you shift gears, like you obviously did fucking phenomenally well in a different space, which just goes to show how resourceful and how how gritty you're willing to get as a business owner and just like as a salesperson. Because that's what everybody's in marketing and sales, right?
100%.
So, but but it just feels so much more right seeing you back in a like let's call it doctor uniform.
Yeah.
Versus
which I didn't wear today because I hate that.
Right. Exactly. At least you had the hat on.
I got the hat.
You walked in. I was like, Joe, where the fuck is your outfit?
We got
He's
the
like,
name. We're good.
Yeah, I really do like the hat, by the way. It's a nice hat.
We'll get some.
Yeah, get me some. But anyway, so back to this. So like, what made you decide right now? Like, I'm gonna do this now.
My son. So the biggest story and the reason this office is the way it is and the reason it's named the way it's named has a lot to tie back to, myself. Like it's called Revive because it's like a second coming. So I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm revived. I feel like it's time for me to be back.
We got to do it to him. We got to do it to him.
But our second son had some complications when he was younger. There's a lot of back and forth between myself and other doctors about what the cause is, this, that, or whatever. Regardless of what it is, he was a little bit behind development-wise.
Yep.
Had some neurological stuff going on. On his left side of his body, his hand and his leg weren't up to par with the right side.
Okay.
So I was taking him to other doctors and I was taking him to other visits, and I'm sitting there and I felt like I was failing my son because I wasn't in my industry where maybe if I was still in it, I would have caught things sooner, or maybe if I was still in it, I don't know. And I looked at it and I was like, I got to figure this out. I'm taking him to all these other people and this is what I do. This is what I love to do. And not only this is what I enjoy doing, but I'm really good at it. And not from a conceited place, but you know when you're good at
Yeah.
something, and you know when that something is yours and this is mine.
Right.
So
let's call it, it's your calling.
it's your calling. You know it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you're comfortable, you're confident no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
So I started doing some more classes and certifications in pediatrics, specifically neurology. And I started doing some treating on him. And as he started to get better quicker with what I was doing, Britt looked at me and just like, she goes like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? This is it. This is what you're supposed to do. And then she started deep diving into like, you know, social media and different groups and forums. And you see a lot of moms concerned about their kids with similar issues.
Right.
And she's like, she's like, our son's not 100% yet, but he wouldn't be where he is if you didn't start doing what you're doing.
Right.
You need to help others, because at the end of the day, she goes, I see how happy you are. I see how like invigorated you are. She goes, but this was what you were meant to do. So we need to do this again. You need to get back to it. So I literally left for work one day, came home, and there was a pros and cons list on the counter. And the pros list was like 5 Post-its, and the cons list was like 3 things. And that's it. And she looked at me and she's like, we got to go.
Right.
So, we just started literally that weekend, started looking at spaces and started negotiating leases. And it was within, 6 to 8 weeks, we had a lease fully negotiated and executed, and we were going.
Right. What's really cool though too there is that your wife like knows you enough, and you have a good enough partner that like, is there to also lift you and prop you up, because that's in marriage. Again, it's so important to have somebody
Correct.
who has not only your back, but also who sees your calling and like helps you rise to that occasion, right? Because
100%.
Because again, honestly, putting aside, Roman or not, right? Like at the end of the day, even if you started 5 years later in Florida, right?
Yeah, which was close,
right? It could have been a circumstance that like, you wouldn't have helped the people you're going to be helping, and also the business you're building could do different things for your family, as opposed to what your other, solar thing was. So it's really cool to see that. And I always I always look at like marriages, and I see certain people pull people down, make them worse. And, if you have somebody like that, that's like, you came home and they're helping you make that decision and trying to push you forward, like that's such an asset, man. And like
100%.
And I love that, because Jack is like that with me. And she makes me better in that regard too. 100%. Right. And, the example I always like to give with Jack is like, there's, when I started adapting back in the day, back in 2008, I remember I printed out this like life quote that I found because I was trying to find some sort of quote that would like help me like, stay motivated every day. And it was, live a few years of your life like most people won't. So you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. And I remember, dude, I had this printed out, and literally from when I met Jack, we moved in, and I'm like a fucking gypsy. We bought like 4 houses in between the time we've been together. And it traveled like in a box somewhere, and like after the first house, I haven't seen it, right?
Yeah.
And when we just moved to where we moved. I went home one day, and it was like she had it in my closet, like nailed up, and I was like, oh my god, like where'd you find it? And she's, she like people doing little things like that, even or big things like Britt did for you. Those are such important ingredients into a successful and healthy marriage, because like as a business owner, you're not gonna do as well as you're gonna do if your marriage sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be miserable. You're not going to feel satisfied. You're going to always have that on top of your head. So anyway, really cool that you guys are in that space like that. And she's like that for you.
I love it. Like same for you too. Like I think that some of the most successful businesses that I know of, husband and wife do it together.
Yeah.
They're involved together because that business is a part of the family. It provides for the family. It is the life of the family. It's, the same thing here with you and Jack. Like if you two aren't doing it together, it might not be what it is. Like 100%. Not saying you're not good at what you do, and not saying I'm not good at what I do, but if our wives weren't fully on board and didn't see the value in what we did,
right,
we might never get to that level.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about it. And how cool is it to have a business where your family's involved?
100%.
Like, who everyone wants that. Everyone wants a family business. That's the best thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
and so anyway, so like as you like started this and evolved this, like, has this created any friction with your previous business, and like what like, is going on now? Because again, obviously you guys are not super far.
I would imagine we're far enough that from a legal standpoint, we're okay.
Right.
And I did think that I did the the respectful thing. I didn't need to do that, but I did it out of respect because
Right.
I don't want to disrespect anybody.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That would look real bad as a business owner if I'm out there trying to bash
Totally.
and disrespect people.
Right.
When at the end of the day, I'm just trying to build something for my community.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's chirping going on in the background
Right.
places because, as anyone who follows our business or follows me, like my wife and I are not afraid to be on camera. My wife and I are not afraid to be out there marketing, talking, and doing our thing. So if people are chirping behind me, that's fine. I'm good with it.
That's not your business.
No,
right?
it's not. I don't need to
Yeah,
know. If they're
you
not
need to
telling
make
me,
it
I
your
don't need to
business.
know about it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's really cool, man. And I do give you respect also because I know a lot of people, like just in general, like care so much what people think, and they're like, oh, like what are these people going to think? If I open this now and blah blah blah, they're gonna be talking. And honestly, those people are not paying your fucking bills.
Correct.
And like those people, like, dude, talk is so fucking cheap, and and that's why I hate that bullshit. So that's why I love that you. Like we're like, fuck it, like you're legally allowed to, and it's your life, and you're gonna go do what you can do, what's best for your family, right? And for Joe, and so I think that's really really cool, and so as you start to build and grow, like are you seeing like the typical like people like come in and like like you did your own thing like based on past patients and stuff?
Yeah. I'm having some people reach out or message me and talk to me or come by and be like,
Right.
telling me about this. And like, so glad you're back and things
Right.
like that. Like, and that's great. I've been a chiropractor for 10 years. Like I owned a business, yes, but even before that, I've worked in the medical field for 15.
Right.
I've been attached to different chiropractic offices over the last 15 years. So
Right.
I have people that I've known either treated as a doctor or even was working with them before I was a doctor for the last 15 years. So like that reputation follows you if you're looking out for the people like you're supposed to.
Right.
Because that's the job.
100%. Now, what would you like say? Because there's a lot of people that always message us about like, partner conflicts or like thinking about starting a business with a partner and stuff like that. And you have experience, obviously. You've had a partner. And so like, what was your takeaway and what advice would you give to somebody who is considering opening a business with a partner based on your experience?
Understand that when things are great, things are great. And when things are bad is when things will come out.
Right.
So to have a plan in place, you should put a plan in place while things are good. You should put a plan in place while you're excited to open and grow. And what I mean by a plan is if you don't have an operating agreement the day you start, you're already doing yourself a disservice. And in that operating agreement, it needs to be clearly written, every aspect of the partnership, roles, responsibilities, who's doing what, who's responsible for what.
Right.
Because when emotions are high and things start going south, that's when the partnership and the friendship or the relationship will be tested the most.
Right.
So that piece of paper is there to prevent emotions from making you guys hate each other. So if you have that in place, you will be, from a legal standpoint, protected. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but I think at least from a business partnership, if you guys sit, put it all down, you'll get out of that honeymoon phase of opening a business. Because when you open the business, it's a lot of fun. Everyone's putting in money and we're talking about logos and we're putting chairs together and we're building a place and it's so much fun. We're going to be business owners. This is great.
Right.
And then a year and a half comes and some, obstacle comes up and, looks like your profits are going to be cut by 30% and this person's got bills to pay and this person's got a family that they got to provide for and this, that, or whatever.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, well, you didn't do as much as I did and blah, 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 blah. That happens in tons of partnerships and I've heard it from a lot of different people. So
Totally.
just put something on paper, like, be real with yourselves, like, and put your egos in check from day one. Like, you're not good at everything.
Yep.
I promise you, in your business, you are not the best at every role.
Right.
So find the role that you're best at, and hopefully your partner is a complement and has a is better at a different role.
Right.
And at the end of the day,
But that's why there should be a partnership, right?
100% if you have complementary roles.
Right. It needs to be a yin yang.
Yes, but you need to define them. And you cannot step on each other's toes in that world.
Right.
So, example, my wife and I now, we are partners. She is the marketing, social media, community outreach. That's her thing.
Right.
So if anything comes up about that, anyone talks about it, yes, I'm the chiropractor on paper. I have a license to practice medicine. So like on paper, I look like I'm the boss. I'm not when it comes to that.
Right. That's her lane.
That's her world. So if someone brings it to me, I'm like, I'm going to run this by my wife. My wife will get back to you.
Yep.
She runs all that.
Smart.
So that's how she, I put up, I'm like, hey, we'll put you on the website. VP of operations and marketing.
Right.
And that's it. And when it comes to running the business, seeing the patients and doing the financial side of it, as far as like salaries and insurance and fee schedules and all this kind of stuff, that's me. She doesn't question me at all.
Right.
And we have that agreement from day one. Even as husband and wife, we had that agreement from day one. Because I learned from my last partnership that when things are bad, you don't want to butt heads over that stuff.
No. And I think that's really solid advice, because when you think about it, most marriages fail because they're not having these financial conversations in the beginning. They don't know what debt you're bringing into the marriage.
Yep.
They don't know what the person's like outside of, just having sex and going to dinner and having fun, right?
Yeah.
It's like what happens when that person is fucking pissed at you, and they hate you,
Correct,
right? Or if they're mad, whatever. It's like you get a completely different person than you signed up for. And to your point, which I think is so important for anybody that's watching this to understand, that is when you're at the first start of the journey, when you create that clear outlined document of roles, responsibilities, equities, whatever else.
Yep.
To your point, it's almost like when you're drunk, right? Like when you're drunk and you're out and something makes you mad and you're drunk.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
You're so heightened, and you wake up the next day almost inevitably and you're like, why was I so mad about that?
Yes.
Because you weren't thinking clearly, right?
No.
And that's what being drunk does. Guess what also does that? Being highly emotional. And so
Correct.
when you're highly emotional about something, you're not making sound decisions. And so when there's a document that already makes those decisions from your sound mind in the past,
Correct.
it protects everybody. Right?
100%.
So at the end of the day, again, I think that's great advice. And I think that when you get into business with anybody, I think, for people listening in, you really have to understand that this is now a marriage.
Yes.
When you think about a marriage, you're not having sex with that person. Maybe some people are, but for the most part, it's literally a business relationship that you're tied to that person financially, legally, and all these different things. It's the same thing as marriage, besides the intimacies. So it's like, this is legitimately a business marriage that you are either going to be set up for success in the beginning or not, because everybody that's been in a position where they're like, oh, we're boys, we're friends, whatever, start a business,
not boys, not
I
friends
love you,
no more.
I love you forever.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's what happens, right? It's like you get into a fight, and then it's like, fuck you, and whatever, and everything goes out the window. So I think it's so important, to protect yourself in the beginning.
Yep.
And it's the opposite. People who are like, hey, in a marriage, like me and my wife, I don't believe in prenups. Like my wife was there early on, and I'm like the Titanic. I'm going down the ship, God forbid. And so for me, it's like, I'm locked in. But that's not the same in business. Like business is very different.
It's very different.
Very, 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 very different. People act crazy when it comes to money.
Well, you have to protect. So the problem that I often see in those partnerships is people believe that the business is to benefit the pockets of the owner, and that's not true.
Well, it depends on who the owner is.
The business's role is to provide for the customers, the patrons, the patients, and the employees of the business first. So when you're structuring that agreement, you need to structure that agreement to protect them, not your pocket.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's going to be frustrating, and when things get bad and things get rough in a business, because it will, you will have downs and you will have ups. It's just the way running businesses are. That document needs to be to protect the business, and the business is not the owners, ever. The business is the people that your job is to service. That's it. So protect those people and protect the employees.
Bam. Love
and that's,
that.
I think, the number one thing you need to think about when you're writing it, because when things go bad, you're going to start thinking about yourself first. And that document needs to put you in check to remember that especially in my field, it's medicine, do no harm. A doctor's job is to do no harm. So if a doctor's thinking about their pocket more than the person sitting on their table, they're going to do harm.
Right.
Maybe not intentionally, And maybe not real physical harm or put them in harm's way, but that's not your job's to take care of that person.
Right.
Your job's to protect those people. And then if you take on an employee, you're now their livelihood.
Right.
So their ability to pay their bills, their ability to feed their families on you. So if you make rash decisions that protect you but hurt those two groups of people, you shouldn't own the business.
True. Yeah, I wholesomely agree with that. And not everybody has that that great ethical mindset.
Yeah.
Like most people are just focused on money. Most people aren't focused on the people. And like even in my space, like I said this the other day, like, you know, AI is in you know, the tech world and marketing world, like it's like, you know, most people are like, I'm going to cut half of my staff or all my staff and just fucking make a ton of money. And, you know, and the way that I believe it, like I have a good team, you know, I have great clients.
Yeah.
And our goal is, you know, in the future, do I want to hire a fuck ton of people? No. But the team I have now can be the people that we build, you know, for the future with.
Yeah.
And so again, ethically, not everybody thinks that way. So there are a lot of people are looking at bottom lines and things like that. But, you know, so anyway, so as you're like progressing forward here, like, you know, like what do you see like the future for Revive?
It's going to be the spot. It's going to be the place where the community goes. It's going to be the place where the community feels the most at home. It's going to be the place where everyone in the area knows if they need something, if they're hurt, if a high school athlete gets hurt on the field and gets, you know, has to come out of the game. Like I'm getting a phone call directly to my cell phone from the coach or the athletic director or the trainer. If a family nearby has a young baby and they're not sure what's going on and they want someone to talk to and just kind of run some questions by, like we're there. Like it's community. Our office is a community. We live in a great community. The people that come there are part of the community. Everyone's a part of this family. And I see a group of providers and doctors that ultimately align to make sure that we keep our family and our community as healthy as possible. Love it.
And do you want to like be like a multi like practice? Like do you want to have a bunch of different places or just you're gonna stick with one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what's best for the patients and my employees. I'm going to do what's best for them. So I'm going to pick what's best for them, not necessarily what's best profit wise. Like obviously every doctor wants to produce more offices, more money, but that might sacrifice quality.
Your quality goes down.
And quality is the most important thing. So the goal right now is to find a few more doctors to come work with me that share the vision that I have to grow this in the community and then take it wherever it goes. And maybe in the future, there'll be another doctor that comes on that I think has the same mentality that we do, and maybe they will grow into their own office and they'll have a piece and they'll be a part of their community and they get to use this same model and name, and the community starts to feel what it is to be, you know, to feel revived, like to feel the best you could possibly feel. Like that's the goal of what this is. And it might get there, but I'm going to let it tell me what it needs to be. I'm going to let this business show me what it needs to be. And I'm just going to be there to help steer in the direction it wants me to go.
Yeah. What a interesting, like you in your previous company. Yeah. I feel like didn't have that like Zen mentality. I feel like that's really Zen of you. Yeah. And really like, almost like you're really in tune almost with understanding. 'Cause like a business is a living organism.
100%.
Especially when you get it to that point. Right.
Yes.
And so, you know, it takes on a life of its own. So like if you're like navigating and building the business around your patients and what it needs, you know, it makes sense that like it's going to continue to keep growing, you know, and thriving. Yes. And yes.
Those OGs remember that one.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. And, you know, right now, because I know, dude, you're always like, you know, like growing as a person and as an individual. Yeah. You know, is there anybody right now that, you know, people that are listening in can like learn from you in the sense of like, is there anybody like any books you're reading or like people you're like really like in tune with right now based on like what they're doing in their business or careers that like motivate you that you can share? I know you're a fucking workout junkie, but
I love to work out. For the first time in my life, no. For the first time in my life, I'm not following the rules or I'm not doing the playbook of anybody else. For the first time in my life, I'm learning to go a little bit deeper within myself. And, I've learned to meditate over this last year and a half. I've learned to pay more attention to my kids. I've learned to pay more attention to my wife and what they're thinking and seeing. And I was blessed to have a business partner in solar that was very in tuned into astrology and things like that. So he just made me open my eyes a little bit more that this life is more about finding your guide, because there's people that have done it before you and they might have done it well, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way for you. So you'll know what's right for you because you'll feel like you're fighting waves in the ocean when you're going against what the universe has put in front of you for you. And I felt like I was treading water a little bit these last few years. I was successful in my other industry by whatever they say success is, but I was fighting it. I was fighting what I was meant to do. I was fighting who I am. And I think for the first time in my life, I am right where I need to be, when I need to be, present in what I'm doing, and just letting life guide me in the direction that I'm meant to be from there.
Love that, dude. I love that for you, man. Seriously. That's awesome to hear.
Appreciate it.
I can see it on you too. You just feel like you're in the right space, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I use the word zen, but it looks like you're just in in that you're in a good flow state. It feels like.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Good flow state. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So as we get to the end here, man, obviously you've been on a bunch of times and I've asked you this question a bunch of times, so I'm going to change it up here. What is a message? Because obviously the one thing that I love about podcasts, and I want to start asking this question. So if I don't remember, you got to start reminding me.
Yeah, write this down.
Yeah. But I want you to give yourself a message to the future in this podcast.
Okay.
About what Joe's doing right now. To the future Joe. And, because I saw something recently that these sixth graders in this one school did that, and they were essentially making video. They made a video, diary of who they were, what they do, and asking themselves questions and stuff. But anyway, I think it could be interesting because obviously right now you're in a building phase. You're getting back into this industry. What advice can you give to future Joe with what you're going through right now?
I guess the advice that I would give to the future, this is a great question because usually the advice is for your younger self.
Right. What would you go back and give?
Now we're talking about what I would tell myself when I'm older.
Right. What would Joe? You ever watch the show Severance?
No.
So I'm not a big TV guy.
Okay.
But my whole team is obsessed with it. So me and my wife watched it. And anyway, in a nutshell, it's about how half your brain gets severed when you're at work.
Yeah.
That person at work, when you leave the office, is a completely different person at home. Meaning it doesn't know anything that happens at work. It's a blackout. So it's picture you walk into the office, boom. Don't know anything that happened. Your outside personal self doesn't know a damn thing about what you do, what you're doing all day long, who you work with, zero. So that you have no stress at home from work and vice versa.
Okay.
So long story short, there's these one of the characters is wrestling with himself in and out of work.
Yeah. Because
he doesn't know who he is out of work and whatever else. And this just reminds me of that because the you and everything that you have going on in your life right now, the Joe in the future is going to have different issues and different problems and different wants.
Yes.
Right? Your core values and who you are is probably most likely going to be the same. But what he needs then might be different from now. So that's why this question is interesting because it's what advice, because you know who you want to be and who you want to become and what matters to you as a father figure and, as a husband and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what would that be? And this is the first time I'm asking this question.
This is a great question. So I guess the thing I would say is keep chasing to be the better person you've always wanted to be. Keep chasing to be a person that your younger self would be proud of. Mm-hmm. But take a second to reflect and look around you with all the people around you and how many people have benefited from you because you cared about them. How many people you affected.
Yeah. I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
So it was the first time we asked that question because we did the reverse legacy question.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, you know, obviously, like, what are you going to tell that person? And, you know, one of the interesting frameworks that I've heard over the years that I love is it's like picture yourself like your 80-year-old self waking up in your body.
Yeah.
And getting to live your life today. Like today, like 80-year-old self, me being here being like, damn, look how young Joe looks. Still got biceps, this guy, you know, and you know, but more on a personal level, like also like damn, like look how young my wife is, look how young my kids are. I get to do this today. Like I'm gonna enjoy every moment because, you know, 80-year-old me wishes that, you know, Johnny, Vienna, Vincenzo were still this little.
Yeah.
Right. Or my wife is this young and,
yeah.
you know, we're still this, you know, young and vibrant and stuff. Yeah. So I heard that and I deploy it almost every day. Sometimes I forget, but like I deploy it every day. And I think it's such a good anchor to being present and to like understanding what really matters. Because like the 80-year-old me, like when I look at some of the problems that I have right now, right? Like in any instance of my life,
correct,
is like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like that really doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
And I think about it in that framework because we all have had problems. You know, one of the things that I always do is like if I have like a big issue, right? I just actually did this last quarter. I had like an issue that really fucking pissed me off. Yeah. And I was like, dude, like this is really shit in my cereal. Right. And so when it happens, I put it in my calendar the day that it happened.
Okay.
Right. And I put like notes in it and I put like what the fuck happened. Because like what if I put it in my phone notes or like paper, like they get lost. But my calendar will never ever not be in Google Calendar and it'll never not be like something that I follow religiously.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I've done this over the past like 5-6 years, but then I stopped doing it for a while because I forgot about it. But I did it in the first Q1 and I was like, oh, I forgot about this. I'm fucking pissed about this.
Yeah.
Popped it in there, right? And I just re-looked at it like 2 days ago.
Okay.
And this is what helps me with that 80-year-old framework because I go, this happened, you know, 3 months ago, and I was so upset about it. I was so annoyed about it.
Correct.
It ruined like 2 weeks of my quarter. And I look back at it, I'm like, dude, I figured it out. It worked itself out.
It was fine.
Whatever, it's fine.
Wasn't that big of a deal.
But in the moment, it was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, so I think like that framework has helped me ground myself in all of these different instances where, like, again, the 80-year-old John, like, has already gone through this, and now it's a fucking pimple on a cow's ass.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a fucking big deal at all.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everything feels crazy in the moments, and you're going through them.
Yeah, it does. It always does. But you're going to get through it in some way, shape, or form.
And that's why, speaking of this, because obviously you're in the health space. So like, one of the things that I am fucking gung-ho on is I love taking cold showers in the morning now.
Yes.
And I know, like, you know, we talked about this like on a different podcast, but it's like, you know, it's like whether there's like a benefit actually or not
doesn't
to it.
Matter.
Yeah. It's like, I like the, they say that like you're building stronger neuroplasticity and building better pathways when you do things you don't want to do repeatedly.
Yes, there's a part of the brain.
Yeah, and like for me, that's the part I love. Like every single morning for the past since 2022.
Yeah.
I wake up and every morning, like after I work out, I fucking take a cold shower. In the winters, they suck more.
They do.
Right?
They do.
But in the summers, they're a little soft, but they still get the job done. And I haven't gotten the cold plunge yet because I just don't want to be on the fucking managing the water and the fucking, you know, I have too many things to worry about. Like,
correct.
I'll just get in the shower and just fucking plop that cold thing on.
It's good enough.
But I love that, like doing something uncomfortable every day. That's how I start my day.
100%.
And you know, and you know, and I think not enough people like are doing that. And we live in a world now where everybody's depressed and anxious. Not everybody, you know, majority of people are. And it's so funny actually. My sister's down from Florida staying with us, and you know that. I mean, I've talked about it on podcasts if you didn't know this, but like, you know, I've battled, you know, and wrestled with anxiety disorder for majority of my life because my parents and shit and whatever. And but I've never taken any medication. Yeah. And so you know, I've tried to figure it out. Meditation has helped me tremendously, and over the years, I've fixed it myself.
That's great.
And with actually, that's a lie, not myself. I've had great doctors and therapists that are holistic, fucking crush it with me. So let me change that. My wife has been awesome.
Yes.
But I just meant I didn't take medicine.
You
but
have
anyway,
you have a village of people
it's
instead
a
of a medicine cabinet.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but anyway, so my sister was like, you know, one of her friends, you know, asked her like, you know, she's like, what anxiety medication do you take? And my sister was like, oh, I don't take any medication. She's like, you just raw dog life?
Isn't it crazy?
And I heard
Isn't that crazy?
And I was like, I never heard that. I'm going to steal that. But
That's great.
But, it's like one of those things where it's like, we live in this world now where mental health is really a big challenge.
Yes.
But people aren't making themselves uncomfortable every day. People aren't like, they want to be happy all the time. And I think one of the things that I love, when you and I were sitting down and we were talking about, a venture that, we started to, build on.
Yeah.
And the approach that, we both are seasoned business people, but like the approach, because, obviously I have partners in different businesses too.
Yeah.
But like, instead of it being like, hey, let's go fucking pop some champagne and celebrate whatever.
No.
It was more of like, all right, well, like, let's outline everything right now.
Correct.
Like you talked about earlier, but it's also like, I feel like people are putting way too much value on being happy. And like, it's almost taken away from like, but what does being happy mean?
Yeah.
And like, if being happy means that like the days that I have a bad day, like are like, I should be depressed then, like, or because I'm not happy every single day. Like, that's where I feel like happy is like the new, like what people used to say, like the toxic hustle culture.
Yeah.
It's like everybody trying to be super, super happy and worried about like that stuff all the time. It's like, started to make people so depressed because they're looking at people on social media. They're looking at everybody being super rich and happy and doing all these cool things that they can't do. And people being better relationships, having better jobs. And they're like, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't have a good job, or I'm not making enough money, or my relationship sucks, or whatever. And so now I'm like depressed. But it's also like, you're not always supposed to be happy. And you also build that muscle in your brain when you're constantly doing things you don't want to do.
Well, happiness is temporary. That's why it can be resulted from.
Right.
It's an immediate response to something. So I'm happy I won. I'm happy people like my social media posts. I'm happy I'm eating this snack. That's an immediate thing.
Right.
So I heard something once. Someone quoted. I don't know who it was, and I'm sure someone will know this. But
it's probably Robbie.
Stop chasing happiness.
Start chasing whiskey.
Yes. Don't chase your whiskey. Just drink it straight.
Just kidding. Yeah, Joe's nuts.
Chase joy.
Yeah.
Because joy is a constant state.
Right.
You're either in a state of joy or you're not.
Right.
Joy doesn't mean that everything in your life is fucking rainbows and sunshine. Mm-hmm. Joy just means that you're happy with where you are and you're good with it.
Right.
And you're willing to navigate the ups and downs to stay there.
Yeah.
But happiness, if you're chasing, it's like chasing money. Mm-hmm. There's never enough of it.
Right.
So you're always going to chase.
Totally.
Happiness, there's never enough. It doesn't fill the whole day, like you said.
Right.
So you're always going to be chasing. But joy is just being content with the part of life that you're in and embracing it and just understanding that you're okay with it.
Dude, I love that. And I think it makes a ton of sense that, like, so this is the thing. So like, me and my wife, we sat down and like last year, and we talked about this on our dad podcast.
Yes.
But 2024 was the absolute fucking
worst fucking year ever.
Craziest year of my life.
Worst year ever.
Dude.
Terrible.
Like, fucking craziest. So bad.
We could just eliminate it from the whole calendar.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude. And so like between like Vincenzo's heart and then, there was a million things. My dad had to get triple bypass.
Yeah.
Like fucking everybody got RSV at once in my household.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like just whatever you could have thrown at me.
From a personal and professional, that year
it's fucking
was
tough,
fucking
dude.
hard.
Fucking tough, dude.
Yeah.
And so, I remember me and Jack were sitting there one night and I was just like, reflecting because like we don't do it all the time, but I try to like constantly like beyond like at the end of every night when we're in bed, I'm like, what was your takeaway from today?
Yeah.
And she's like, and she'll
like that.
come up with something. I'll come up with something. And one day, like we were just going through it, man. We were at the hospital with Vincenzo.
Yeah.
Like all night for like 2 days and no sleep. Like and obviously he's not the only kid, so we have to make sure the other kids are good. My parents are helping. Her parents are helping. And I remember being like, yo, like we're like ducking waves, but like there's no end in sight right now. Like It's crazy. And I remember sitting there, I'm like, well, like, what are we expecting to be different, right? Like, are we expecting our kids to always be healthy? Are we expecting business to always be good? Like, we had this really good conversation, and it kind of surrounded to like the fact that like obviously we were just super stressed out, but like, I remember we're like, who are we to think that we're not supposed to be? Like everybody has different fucking shit. Like, why are we thinking like that we shouldn't be stressed? And I remember, dude, like I've had, like this podcast has done some big things for me mentally. Like I remember we had Jake the Tank, Mike Honig and his wife on the podcast, and they lost their son to pediatric cancer.
Yeah.
And I remember, dude, like I'm in the children, but like I remember we're sitting there on the podcast. I didn't have any kids way before I had kids.
Yeah.
And it was like 2018, 2017. And, you know, they're talking and I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, dude, this dude's so positive. Right.
Yeah.
And he has his daughter who's alive, you know, still thankfully. But I remember being like, dude, like how the fuck are you so positive? And he goes, well, you know, I can choose to mourn a loss for the rest of my life, or I can choose to celebrate my son's life. And I got to know him, I got to whatever. So anyway, I'm saying that to say, like, that's the mindset, right? So whether we call that joyful or whether we call that whatever, it doesn't mean that that dude is fucking happy all the time.
No.
Because he's absolutely not,
No.
right? But what it does mean is that he has a mindset that is more about resilience than it is about poor me.
Correct.
And I think that's the thing that like really 24 was like that year for me that was like, yo, all right, like, you know, life is not always like I've had very tough years. That's my toughest. But it's like at the end of the day, like part of the human experience that we have AI bots like that are now going to start coming out soon, like legit like physical robots and shit. And, you know, AI getting smarter and smarter. Like the thing that makes us special is that we go through fucking hell and we can get back up and we have, you know, if we're alive, we can tell the story, hopefully help other people, help our kids through it. And that's the human experience.
It's a human experience.
You know what I mean? So it's like we're supposed to, so back to the whole fucking rant is about happiness. And it's like when you look at like, you ever, maybe you know people, maybe you don't, but like I remember, you know, I grew up North Jersey, you know, my family's from Newark. And I remember like I would go visit my mom at the office in Newark.
Yeah.
She worked for the city of Newark. And I'll never forget, long story short, there was like this one lady. Mm-hmm. This lady did not do well financially there, right? And like, you know, lived in Newark, you know, paycheck to paycheck, small apartment by herself, whatever. I think her husband died. And I remember like, she would always talk to us, but dude, every time I saw her, Joe, I remember as a kid, I was like I was probably like Julian's age, probably like 7 years old, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I just remember she was always so fucking nice and happy and delightful.
Correct.
And, you know, and she was just always such a pleasure to be around, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I asked her, like, why are you always so happy, right? And she said, I choose to be, right?
Correct.
And I think
love
that's
that. I love that.
I think that's the key difference, right? Because we all know people who maybe they don't have the best relationships or the best whatever, the best jobs, but you always know one person in your life that person's like just a pleasure to be around.
Yeah.
And they don't have any money, they don't have whatever, but they're just fucking great people.
Yeah.
And like she was that person where I was like early on I saw that and I was like, damn, like she's so freaking nice.
Yeah.
I love being around her. She's cool. And like when she said I choose to be, it made me think like, okay, like again, you know, whether it's the goal is to always be happy or not, it's like you have to choose mentally to be that person.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like no matter what your circumstances are. So, all right, dude, as we wrap here, where can people find you? Fucking, that's your thing. Like location, websites, everything, socials.
So Revive Health and Wellness, that is our Revive Health and Wellness NJ, I think is our Instagram handle. You'll find us Revive Health and Wellness. We're in Point Pleasant, New Jersey by Rook. Super easy. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes there. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have Google. We have everything going on. YouTube Shorts. We got tons of stuff up there about adjustments and different tips and tricks. And then myself, you can even find me, Joe Marchitelli. I'm on Instagram. And I'm also on TikTok. So you can find us there as well.
I love it. And actually, end us with this. What is one thing for people who have neck and back pain, right? What is one piece of advice for people? Because most people are in the tech or like they have tech neck and shit.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people that are in that situation?
Sit up straight, hold your chest up, hold that position, and get moving. To sit in that position all day long and not move and not get going around, you're just going to feel like shit. So the number one thing I can give you is sit up straight as much as you can and take as many breaks as possible. Walk around, go outside, get some fresh air, that'll help you.
Dude, they have these like track pads now you can put under your desk. And they have stand-up desks, obviously, so you like walk. Like, it's like the walking
you
pads.
You walk like that.
Through the walking pads. One of my team members just did that. Now we're like going to start doing that for
race each other.
The company. Yeah, it's like who could walk all day, who has the longest.
He gets the most miles.
100%, right? So, anyway, bro, thank you so much for being here. First and foremost,
thank you for having me.
Dude, I'm super happy for you. I'm proud of you. And the one thing that I love the most about you as a fucking man and as a business owner is that you put people before yourself. And it's evident that with Revive, obviously, like this is, your calling. This is what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, what better way? Like, obviously, me and Jack are also the dynamic duo with my businesses.
Correct.
So it's cool to see you and Britt doing that. But also, like, just to see you go through all these different, different jobs from owning your business to then going into solar and then coming back to this and remaining a great father throughout the whole process, remaining a great husband throughout the whole process and being supportive. Every time I talk to you, you're like, yo, I'm here. Britt's at the gym doing her thing. Like, dude, like wives, anybody listening to this, if you have a kids and you have a wife who's home and whatever else, like that mental health, like space for them to get out of the house is so important.
So important.
So you doing that again, like, so anyway, I have so much respect for you because of the man that you are outside of business and for not only like how much you care about what you do, but that's evident. That's why I know for a fucking fact you're going to be successful because like you can't fake like good intentions. Right? Like you are genuine. So anyway, I'm fucking stoked to be a part of this with you. I'm stoked to watch you make big moves, dude.
Thank
and
you,
if you are local in the area and you're not fucking going to Revive, you're crazy. If you got neck and back pain, you got to go see Dr. Joe. I actually just thought about this during the podcast. We got to get you a shirt that says Dr. Joe's got your back.
Oh, yeah, we need that.
Oh, get it? Because he's a fucking chiropractor, baby.
We need that.
We need that. But anyway, guys, go check him out. You will not regret it. And thanks for watching in, guys.
Thank you.